Hello! Welcome to the next installment in reading one story a day from Pu Songling's Strange Tales from a Chinese Studio, until I get bored or forget. Today we have story number 12, Stealing a Peach. When I was a boy, I went up to the prefectural city of Jinan to take an examination. It was the time of the spring festival, and according to custom, on the day before the festival, all the merchants of the place processed with decorated banners and drums to the provincial yamen. This procession was called Bringing in the Spring. I went with a friend to watch the fun. There was a huge crowd milling about, and ahead of us, facing each other to the right and left of the raised hall, sat 4 mandarins in their crimson robes. I was too young at the time to know who they were. All I was aware of was the hum of voices and the crashing noises of the drums and other instruments. In the middle of it all, a man led a boy with long, unplaited hair into the space in front of the dais and knelt on the ground. The man had 2 baskets suspended from a carrying pole on his shoulders and seemed to be saying something, which I could not distinguish for the din of the crowd. I only saw the mandarin smile, and immediately afterwards an attendant came down, and in a loud voice ordered the man to give his performance. "What shall I perform?" said the man, rising to his feet. The mandarins on the dais consulted among themselves, and then the attendant inquired of the man what he could do best. "I can make the seasons go backwards, and turn the order of nature upside down." The attendant reported back to the mandarins, and after a moment returned and ordered the man to produce a peach. The man assented, taking off his coat and laying it on one of his baskets, at the same time complaining loudly that they had set him a very hard task. "The winter frost has not melted. How can I possibly produce a peach? But if I fail, their worships will surely be angry with me. Alas, woe is me!" The boy, who was evidently his son, reminded him that he had already agreed to perform, and was under an obligation to continue. After fretting and grumbling a while, the father cried out, "I know what we must do. Here it is early spring, and there is snow on the ground. We shall never get a peach here. But up in heaven, in the garden of the Queen Mother of the West, they have peaches all the year round. There it is eternal summer. It is there we must try." "But how will we get up there?" asked the boy. "I have the means," replied his father, and immediately proceeded to take from one of his baskets a cord some dozens of feet in length. He coiled it carefully, and then threw one end of it high up into the air, where it remained suspended as if somehow caught. He continued to pay out the rope, which kept rising higher and higher until the top of it disappeared altogether into the clouds, while the other end remained in his hands. "Come here, boy," he called to his son. "I'm getting too old for this sort of thing, and anyway I'm too heavy. I wouldn't be able to do it. It will have to be you." He handed the rope to the boy. "Climb up this." The boy took the rope, but as he did so, he pulled a face. "Father, have you gone mad?" he protested. "You want me to climb all the way up into the sky on this flimsy thing? Suppose it breaks and I fall. I'll be killed." "I've given these gentlemen my word," his father pleaded, "and there's no backing out now. Please do this, I beg of you. Bring me a peach, and I'm sure we will be rewarded with 100 taels of silver. Then I promise to get you a pretty wife." So his son took hold of the rope and went scrambling up it, hand over foot, like a spider running up a thread, finally disappearing out of sight and into the clouds. There was a long interval, and then down fell a large peach, the size of a soup bowl. The delighted father presented it to the gentleman on the dais, who passed it around and studied it carefully, unable to tell at first glance whether it was genuine or a fake. Then suddenly the rope came tumbling to the ground. "The poor boy!" cried the father in alarm. "He's done for! Someone up there must have cut my rope!" The next moment something else fell to the ground, an object which was found on closer examination to be the boy's head. "Ah, me!" cried the father, weeping bitterly and holding the head up in both his hands. "The heavenly watchman caught him stealing the peach. My son is no more!" After that, one by one, the boy's feet, his arms and legs, and every single remaining part of his anatomy came tumbling down in a similar manner. The distraught father gathered all the pieces up and put them in one of his baskets, saying, "This was my only son. He went with me everywhere I went, and now, at his father's own orders, he has met with this cruel fate. I must away and bury him." He approached the dais. "Your peach, gentlemen," he said, falling to his knees, "was obtained at the cost of my boy's life. Help me, I beg you, to pay for his funeral expenses, and I will be ever grateful to you for your kindness." The mandarins, who'd been watching the scene in utter horror and amazement, immediately collected a good purse for him. When the father had received the money and put it in his belt, he rapped on the basket. "Babar," he called out. "Out you come now and thank the gentleman. What are you waiting for?" He had no sooner said this than there was a knock from within, and a tousled head emerged from the basket. Out jumped the boy and bowed to the dais. It was his son. To this very day, I've never forgotten this extraordinary performance. I later learned that this rope trick was a specialty of the White Lotus sect. Surely this man must have learned it from them.